back to the Ben and Russ YouTube channel. Well, we're bringing a How Tuesday to you live in the shop today. And we haven't done a How Tuesday in quite a while, but this feels fitting for, well, what we're doing. We have the Hot Rod Iroc back in action. I got another one of them while you're in there phone calls from my buddy Eric. Yeah. Hey, while you're in there, what about some Qa1 Bolt-on subframe connectors? What about them? You want to put them on? Sure, buddy. So here we are today. I got these units here, and I mean, it makes sense. Car's here, we got it ready to go. My Monte Carlo is taking up one of his bays, so we might as well help a buddy out. That's what we're here for, right? Yeah, so what is going on with the car? Well, we did take a little test drive, and I'll drop a little clip in right here. First drive, you a little excited? Well, we're gonna give her a shot. Now, we're not gonna go crazy. She's not fully tuned, but we gotta at least go down the gravel road a little bit slow. All right, first drive. Sounding good so far. She's still not up to temp yet. She's only at 93. But that says battery voltage at 12. Huh. We'll have to deal with that. But we can make it down the road. That could be the Excite wire I have using, so we'll sort that out. But definitely things like that, you'll learn. A very short-lived test drive. Everything's doing good. It is charging now. The ignition wire I have it on, sometimes they, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna look more into that, but it is charging now. We'll have a better one for you here soon, but we just wanted to, he was over here dropping off some more stuff for us to install. Who would have thought? And one of them, yeah, well, you're there type things. I'll show you guys in just a hot second. Back to the shop. Now, that was not much of a test drive, I know, but my road is gravel. We just idled down it and back to make sure the transmission shifts and stuff. And Rusty is still whipping up that super tune for us so we can drop her in, mail order, special. So hopefully we get that in. And the next trip you see with this car will definitely be leaving some black marks, okay? I promise you that. But I did get the air intake system figured out and sorted out for you guys, and I wanted to show you what we did. And this is actually the final product of what I'm doing anyways. We got everything wiped down, looking good. Everything's tied up and zip tied and loomed, and here's our air intake. So you were asking how that was gonna work. Well, that's what we got. It is kind of tacky, but really, what are you gonna do? Until we get a 3D printer or some ability to create a better one of these, just saying, if one of you guys out there are talented enough to recreate this and give it a bigger mouth on her, you got some money on your hands, folks. I'm sure there's a few third gen guys that would like to get more flow out of that. But for us, it's going from 102, which is roughly 4 inches, down to 3.5. Now this is 3 inches. It's neck down a little bit, but hey, that's what we got, and it's finalized. And that was from the HPS Performance Group there on the old eBay. Again, 4 inch to 3 inch, and it is an offset, like I showed you, and I'll drop another picture into that. And then this is just a vibrant one I had laying around that goes from 3.5 to 3 with some aluminum eBay Performance pipe. But other than that, guys, she is all wiped down and waiting for a hood. And again, it is a pin-on hood for this car. That's why we don't have it. And honestly, it makes the lighting better for me to show you, okay? So what are we doing today for this How Tuesday? Again, we're gonna go ahead and install those subframe connectors because we feel it's necessary. Now you're saying, why aren't you getting weld-in ones? Well, hey, y'all have seen my welds, and they're not, well, they're hot. They're just not, you know what I'm saying. So we're gonna give these a shot, and then I figured I'd bring you guys along for it, well, to show you more progress on the car and to show you how to install those. Looking at the directions, I know you're not used to me doing that. It looks like we're gonna drill a few holes, but once we get it in the air, we'll be able to show you a little better placement of what we need to do here. So other than that, not a bad looking product, and Qa1 is awesome to deal with anyways. They got a lot of good stuff, and you've seen how their torque arm, let me say it right, torque arm worked with the you know, the Qa1 trans cross member. So great kit. It's time though. You saw, we drove it, it runs, and trust me, we'll have better footage of it running and driving. But he was excited when he dropped them off and wanted to take it down the road. So let's get her in the air. Well, we got her in the air, and it's quite questionable here, but you'll see we are trying to be safe anyways. We got 2 big jack stands rated for 2 ton apiece. I do have this hoist arm out. Now, if you're doing it on the ground, that won't matter, but our problem is you can't get the bolt out with the hoist in the way. So we're doing our best. But I did go ahead and position this in a fashion where we can get to this area right here, because we're gonna end up drilling 2 holes here. And also there's a spot where this egg-shaped hole, I think we're gonna go through that as well. And then it runs back and we'll saddle right here. So the hardest holes we're gonna be dealing with is drilling these. So I don't know yet. The picture shows a car, of course, without what? Without freaking ground effects. Like, come on now, really? I know. Yeah. So worst case, we do have a torch. We can blow a couple holes through it. I do have a right angle drill. We have options. But yeah, it shows drilling a hole with the ground effects off. And their car looks kind of like a rusty POS. So, well, at least we don't have that. These holes are staggered as well, too, if you see. So it is going to be a little bit lower. But, and then here's the two that go in that middle section. Let me see if I can hold one up and show you real fast. So we'll fish it up there, and it does saddle. So we're at the back of the frame where we'll have to pull that bolt out for the rear trailing arm. But the way it goes around it, essentially it's going to wedge between the upper portion of the frame and the rear. So I'm going to go ahead and start removing that bolt, and let's see if we can get this thing fished in there. The driver's side looks a little more tricky, but if you guys are not running dual exhaust like we are, you're going to be dealing with the exhaust, because up here is where the old catalytic converter would have been. So you're going to have to deal with that crossover pipe. Maybe you can fish it through. Directions say cut it off. So we'll see. Let's get this bolt out. So we got an 18 for our bolt here. Hopefully this damn thing actually comes out of here. All right, we'll accept that. Now this is a Florida car, so we do have that on our side. A little bit of leverage, there we go. So like I said, my biggest concern is just trying to figure out how we're gonna drill a hole up here. I'm really hoping we don't have to torch it, but we'll find out together here real quick. So it looks like we can go ahead and fish this over. So according to the old directions, they don't want us to put the trailing arm in quite yet. The proclaimed reason is it'll give us enough room to drill the hole. So we're gonna find out here in a second. Now this is kind of a snug fit over. So they said to leave the trailing arm out, but it doesn't really fit, I guess, unless I pry the axle back. So we're gonna try leaving it in, because I don't know where that's gonna impact drilling the hole. And the hole's here, well, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? But we got her through. So that's kind of the gist of this right here. You see, obviously, it's bolting there. This is going to be the tough hole to drill. I don't know what the hell we're going to do there. They said if you leave that out, that would give you enough room to drill that. But that does not make any sense to me. At this point here, though, you're higher than the frame. And then out here, maybe if I bend this out of the way or notch this, you know, the jack support, it is below the ground effects. I mean, it does look better now seeing it in person, but up front, it's going right where they show. It's just be a drill a hole there. That one's pretty straightforward, and then right here is pretty straightforward. So this part's easy. I'm probably going to attempt to put a jack under here just to get this up as tight as possible to that to the floor. Yes, I can pull this up with that one, but I'd also like to have this snug too. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a thought when you're doing this. But you can see we got our hoist up here. I got room for another jack stand anyway, so we'll try that out. But other than that, so far, I mean, that's, guys, I got like 10 minutes into this. Most of it was setting the hoist up. So if you're doing it on the ground, it might be easier. But, so I guess it's time to get the drill out. First hole is done. I probably should have pre-drilled. I got a little excited, the 1/2-inch bit went right in, and yeah, you saw that. But we're gonna make an attempt to do this second one. I may have to lower this back down. Again, if you see, it's kind of at an angle. So if I can get the drill in there, it might be okay. I don't think I'm going to. I meant to mark that one and pop this back down. But at least we know that one's in the right spot, so that one will be, and that one will pull up tight to the floor. So as for the other side, though, it does bolt onto a different part of the body. So we'll show you that when we get there. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff. I'm just more sweating these holes back here and how we're gonna deal with that. Well, at least they give us these nut plates here. So basically, we're gonna go ahead and remove our jack stand here, and we can fish it up through this hole. Let's get this dude out of the way. And right there are the holes, folks. So that's gonna be pretty straightforward. We'll just be able to hold this up there and then run our bolts in. Now we got some threaded backers. Now what's odd is they don't give you any sort of, I don't know, lock washers or anything. So just give you flat washers. We're gonna give her the red juice. You know what's up. Now we should be good to tighten everything, really. Other than the trailing arm bushing, you remember you want to tighten that at ride height because you don't want to pre-tension the bushing. Not good for it. Just remember that, folks. Easy enough. So far, I mean, you could definitely do this in your driveway. I just think the exhaust would be the only hang-up right here. But like I said, with us, it's not a big deal because we don't have that in our way anymore. Because we got this custom, custom dual exhaust. 65 foot-pounds. That's what they're calling for, folks. Same treatment, another hole up front here. Gonna go ahead and fish another one of these flag nuts. I don't know what you really call them, but we're gonna call them flag nuts today. A nut with a tang. Let's see if we can get that in there. And just kind of line that up. I already got some thread locker on our bolt, so should be good there. So I figured out the partial method to my madness. I'm gonna just kind of drill the hole at an angle. I know, sounds like the wrong way, but it'll be fine, trust me. It ain't, we're only going through a thin layer of metal, so it isn't like we're gonna be boring it, you know, 2 inches into it at an angle, just a slight bit. The problem I have is on this outside with the ground effects and with this lowered area for putting a jack, it interferes with the drill bit. In the car, they show on their pictures, doesn't have that. Now, did they cut it off? I mean, who actually reads the directions? So we're gonna make it work and you're gonna watch. You ready? Let's get the drilling. Well, you can see we got our holes drilled. Now you ask yourself, what's gonna stop that from crushing as you go to tighten the bolt? Well, they thought of that. Now we got a nice little sleeve we gotta insert. So we're gonna fish the bolt through, get the sleeve on it, put the nut on it, and then we can tighten it up. Now remember, the trailing arm, obviously I've mentioned already, that bolt, you wanna wait until it's on the ground, at ride height anyways, or jack up the rear end. That's a lot of times what I do to kind of simulate ride height. Again, I mentioned earlier, you want to tighten it at ride height because that's gonna be your most neutral state for the bushing. You don't wanna have the rear end sagging and then immediately tighten the bolt up, and then when you set it down, you have that rotational torque already on your bushing. You're gonna wear it out prematurely or tear it right out anyway. So let's get the fish in the bolt. I ended up pulling the trailing arm back out. There was no way I could get that damn spacer in there in a neat fashion by all means, and that was still kind of a pain in the behind. The problem is, again, it's the same thing we had issues with drilling. This dude right here is right in the way of that bolt. You can look right here, the direct sight line. So I had to put the bolt in up at an angle, so the insert had to go at an angle. And then I kind of fought it down with the pry bar, but I know I didn't film it, but good luck when you get to that point. But other than that, I mean, hell, just tighten a couple bolts, and this side's already done, the passenger side. So the driver's side, that aspect is the same. Like we talked about, we'll see where that one goes here in just a hot minute. So let's get this snugged up here. And we just snug these dudes up. I'm gonna bring this one up to the point of almost being tight, and then when we set it at ride height, we're gonna go ahead and snug that one down. Well, that is a success. I did fast forward through the driver's side. It was the same process, so no point in boring you that much by all means, but guys, they actually worked out really slick. Qa1 for the freaking win, like always. I mean, they bolt in, other than drilling them holes, which kind of sucked. The rest was pretty straightforward. So what do we got? We have 4 17, 30 seconds holes you got to drill. Not a big deal. Well, 4 on each side, I should say. But other than that, I mean, I bolted them in place and drilled the holes right through the brackets. Now, if you wanted to drop them down and do as you wish there, but that worked out for me. Then I knew the holes at least lined up, but I mean, it turned out super freaking slick. And, you know, just looking at it, the chassis looks stiffer. You know what I mean? It's got to be, right? But, I mean, when you go apples to apples, is the Weldon one that much better? I don't know. You let me know in the comments what you think. But this is a pretty straightforward install. I would definitely suggest them again if you got a 3rd gen. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's the next day here, but, I mean, overall, I would say I got like 2 hours into it, and that's with me filming as well. So you probably could bust them out in an hour if you're humping right along, you know what I mean? So let's lower this thing down and give her a bounce and see what really happens. Let's try the old bounce test, you know? Oh yeah, you can't, it doesn't even flex, folks. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna really know until, well, hopefully we really never know. You know, because T-top cars are notorious for what? Well, all that torque, they'll twist and bust a windshield like every freaking time. So realistically, bolting it to the body, bolting it to that front subframe, and then also to the rear, right at the rear suspension's got to be a huge benefit. Have I looked at the Weldon ones in comparison? I know I mentioned that earlier. I have not. Eric just got a hold of me and was like, hey, while you're in there, and I figured I'd bring it along for you guys to show you if you need to do that same thing to your 3rd gen, or they probably sell them for a 4th gen too, I would bet. But I mean, that was super slick. I don't know. I'll drop in a link of the ones we used. It was 82 to 92, you know, your 3rd gen series. And I'll make sure I put the part number up right here for you. But guys, that wasn't too bad. But the next time you see this car, I know our test drive is a little bland, but we are on a back road and we don't want to throw rocks all down the paint. So we will be trailering it back to his place, and he's got some nice fresh blacktop in Mexico, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah. Future projects. You are still waiting about the van, right? Well, the motor is still at the machine shop. That was supposed to be this Tuesday's video, is reassembling that. I have not got it back yet. I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll find out together. I got something special coming as well here in the next, probably the next week, maybe Friday. I don't know. I got to see how things lay out. I'm really hoping to get the motor back, 'cause I really want to get Aaron's van down to the Super Tuner, down to Rusty, so he can get working on that. We have a drag race coming up at Thunder on a Strip over in Gladwin, which we're taking the S10. I did order some Caltrax for that, so you'll probably see a video of us doing Caltrax and kind of going through that again. Yes, it's still only making 7 pounds of boost. I know that, it sucks, but it doesn't hook anyways. So do we really want to make 900 horse? Yeah, hell yeah we do, but it's just gonna spin the tires. So let's get the hook first, and then we'll start worried about that aspect of it. But let's wrap this video up, guys. So on that note, I appreciate you for tagging along for this How Tuesday on this lovely 3rd gen Camaro. And again, you won't see a whole bunch of How Tuesdays, but I figured this would be a good one. Enough rambling. Make sure you like, subscribe, share all good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.